In this video, I'm going to show you how you can see our plays in pretty much any language in the world. To do this, we have to use Google Chrome, and I'm using an environment which consists of Windows 10, and I'm using the latest version of the Google Chrome browser. And to show you this, I'm going to use perhaps the most famous speech in Shakespeare from Hamlet. So I click on Hamlet to get to a Hamlet script, and the most famous speech I want to use is in Act 3, Scene 1. And it's spoken by Hamlet, and it's probably easiest if I show you that in parts and cues mode. So I'm going to choose a single part of Hamlet, and it's in parts and cues mode, and it's set, the font option is set at medium. So if I close the setup window by clicking on the gear wheel, you'll now see that most famous speech. And you'll see that it's in English, which is not surprising. Now, supposing I want to see it in another language, and the only one I have some familiarity with is French, so I'll show it first of all in French. I right-click on the somewhere on the page and click on Translate into English, which obviously we don't need to do because it's already in English. But when I do that, I get an option in which, when I click on the option, it shows me the page language is in English, the translate language is in English, but if I open up the translate language, you'll see that there are really hundreds of languages, or at least 100 languages that I can use. What I want to use is French. So if I click on French and translate, you'll see that it's now shown in French, and that first line is now être ou ne pas être, c'est la question, which to my schoolboy French sounds pretty good. And if I highlight that particular line, you'll see the original text. Now, I'm not sure, I want to show you some other languages now. So if I go back to the translation language, the reason I discovered this was I got a query on Google Plus from someone who wanted to see Shakespeare in Arabic or Arabic. And so now I'm going to choose Arabic and translate. And hey presto, I assume this says something like to be or not to be. And just one further example, I have a son who lives in China, and his wife only speaks Chinese. And I'd quite like to introduce her to Shakespeare. And so I'm going to click on Chinese Simplified. And then translate. And again, you see the Chinese. And similarly, if I highlight there, you'll see the original text. I'm going to return to the original language, which I'm much more familiar with. And I'd just like to finish by saying that I'm sure these translations are probably not very sympathetically translated, and so it may not be good enough script to use to run the play. However, if you're a non-native English speaker, it may be very helpful if you're having trouble with the speech to translate it into your natural language to get a better idea of what's going on. And to end where we usually end, back at the beginning, let's go back to our home page and say you can do that with any of the plays that are published in our series. I hope you found that interesting and useful.